up, everybody? Welcome back to the Price to Sell podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Campoli. And I know I always say we have a special one for you today, but today we have a special one for you. We have, all the way from the UK, an incredibly special guest. He runs one of the largest property training companies in the UK. You may have seen him as the Undercover Millionaire on YouTube, traveling to different parts of the UK with no money, no network, no excuses, which a lot of you have, and successfully closing real estate deals to show you how possible things really are. He has done over 300 property deals and has an incredible online presence, including 427,000 YouTube subscribers. He recently interviewed Andrew Tate and is now coming off an incredible fitness journey and boxing victory. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Samuel Leeds in the Price to Sell studio today. Welcome.
Great to be here, man. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, of course.
I love where I can go pretty much anywhere in the world and there's someone with a podcast
Yeah, right?
ready to invite me on.
More and more just popping up.
Well, today this is that one. So yeah, I'm just in Toronto for a couple of days and it's great to connect.
Yeah, I appreciate you right away answering, being super.
Yeah, man. Well, I ain't got time. I'm only here for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And then off to Detroit, Michigan, and all over North America.
Well, Toronto welcomes you.
Thank you.
Maybe one day you own some property here.
Maybe. I don't know much about the Canadian market. So, of course, whenever you travel anywhere as a real estate investor, agent, whatever, you're looking at the market and you're talking to the taxi drivers trying to figure things out. So I've been doing that. And I can see that the house prices are pretty expensive, but they also seem, the capital appreciation has been ridiculous.
Yes.
Like insane.
Yes.
I kind of wish I had invested in Canada maybe when I started out because it's been madness.
Past 5 years have been ridiculous.
Interesting.
Yeah, lots of wealth.
Yeah.
But now it's a...
Well, everywhere though now. I think
It's
there's a
true.
pretty much worldwide recession going on right now. So the property market, I don't know what's going on with interest rates and stuff here, but in the UK, interest rates have just gone up massively. So now it's very difficult to get a mortgage, which of course is affecting the house prices.
Yeah.
But there's always money to be made.
Exactly. And we're going to get into that. But first, I'd love to start off, before we get into all things real estate, I'd love to know how it was interviewing Andrew Tate. I feel like you got him right before he went to jail, right?
Yeah, I've had him twice actually.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah, twice I interviewed Andrew Tate.
Yeah, so how was that experience?
I mean, Andrew Tate is Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
He is the same on camera, off camera. He is who he is. But my experience with him was very positive. He was professional and kind and very easy to deal with. Same with you. Like when you messaged me, and I just came down, like, he just straightforward. I wasn't going through his PA or anything like that. I was just speaking with him direct. And a very positive experience. And my channel has been going now for about 6-7 years. But my most viewed video on my entire channel was my interview with Andrew Tate.
Yeah, like 6.2 million.
Yeah, so he's
like
an
that.
eyeball magnet.
Right?
You know?
Yeah.
Everyone's tries to get views talking about him. But I actually had him on my channel twice.
Yes.
So it's crazy.
If you had to take one trait from him that maybe you learned that can maybe be accredited to his success, what would that be?
I would say one of the things he's got going for him, which I think I have as well, and a lot of very successful people do, but unsuccessful people do not have this trait at all, is his ability to not care whether people like him or not, what you think of him. He's not worried about being liked. Mm-hmm. He just does what needs to be done in his business and in his life. And I respect that about him. Because I think that everyone cares about being liked. And, if they get they've got a podcast, they get one negative comment and it's like, oh my gosh, they freak out. I mean, Andrew gets thousands of negative comments and death threats every day. And he just kind of continues doing what he's doing. And I think that, it takes extremely thick skin and courage to do that. And if you want to be successful in business, you're gonna upset people. You're gonna put people's noses out of joint, whether it be competitors or whoever. I'm not saying don't care about your customers, but not caring about being liked by everybody all the time.
Yeah.
In England, we use the expression that says, "He's not my cup of tea," and you can't be everybody's cup of tea, otherwise you'd be a mug.
Yeah.
So
true.
I think I definitely respect that, along with many other things about him.
Yeah. Don't be a mug.
Yeah, don't be a mug.
So let's get into yourself, man. Let's learn a little bit about you, like your story growing up, start with early life and your journey.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't grow up with wealth. I grew up in a relatively modest background. My parents separated when I was 7. and my first sort of experience outside of doing paper rounds, but making real money, was working on a building site, and I was plastering this house. And the builder was telling me how much money the investor was making. You know, he was saying to me, "Do you realize that the investor bought this house for 100,000, and when we finish with this refurb, he's only paying us 30,000, but the house will be worth 200. And do you realize that he's going to rent it out room by and he's explaining, getting all excited about what the investor's doing." And I'm thinking, well, that's the business to be in. You know, how do I get into that business? And I ended up joining a little property investors network meeting in Birmingham, in the middle of England, and I think just rubbing shoulders with people. If you want to get into real estate, hang around people that are in real estate. If you want to you mentioned boxing. I've been doing quite a lot of boxing recently, and now I've got a whole new circle of friends who are all boxers. You know, are you a boxer? What? Oh, you got hurt knuckles. Yeah, okay, that's good. But
I do boxing.
You do a bit of boxing. We have to do some sparring, bro.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm in.
But the thing is this: you are who you hang around. So I started hanging around property investors and going to networks, and I realized that the marketplace doesn't discriminate. Yeah. The marketplace is very inviting if you can provide value. So I started just like doing things like renting out people's properties and saying, "Oh look, I'll do it for free. I just want to learn." And people were, "Okay, well, we can maybe do something." You know, so people were quite gracious to me, and I ended up getting my first property deal. 2009, I bought my first house, and that was I still own it today. That was the first of my little empire. Nice. And I've gone on to do, you know, hundreds of deals and own a lot of development projects in England. I've got overseas investments as well. I'm investing in across Africa. That's cool. Yeah. I've got quite a lot going on. Or, you know, not just in England, but 95% of our stuff is in the UK.
That's awesome. So let's go back to that moment. How old were you when you were plastering that wall that day?
15, 16.
Oh, so you were young.
That day I was like, 16. Yeah.
Okay. So was that like, prior to that, did you have any idea of like where you wanted to be in life? You know, like we all had aspirations growing up, right?
Yeah, well, in school I wasn't very good in school. I'm not super academic, and I've got ADHD, so my attention span is all over the place. So I was pretty terrible when I was at school. Yeah. And I think when you're a kid, if you're not good at school, the whole way that the society gears you is, you know, do well at school, then that will help you get into college or university, and then once you've got through uni, you can get a good job for life that will set you up. So I wasn't on that path, so I didn't really have much aspirations. No, to be honest, the reason I got into plastering and working on a building site was because I thought, well, I'll use my hands, do something physical, and you know. But no, I wasn't. If you'd have told me back then that I was going to end up, you know, being a multi-millionaire and having, you know, loads of property and loads of staff members and stuff like that, I would have been very surprised. I didn't have any anticipation that would happen.
Yeah. I feel like that's how it is for most success stories. You know, we're just kind of on our path, and if you're like open and aware, like you didn't have to really take what that guy said that day and think about it. You could have been like, "Oh yeah, cool," but you got your wheels turning. You know? Yeah. Do you think you always had like that kind of entrepreneurial mindset where you're thinking differently?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, thinking outside the box. Yeah, for sure. But I think I'm just a little bit of an obsessive person. I'm very goal orientated. Yeah. I'm quite an obsessive person. So I became obsessed with property and real estate. I became the best at it in my field, and that's why I've, you know, dominated. Yeah.
So what was that pivotal moment for you where you said, okay, this is the road I'm going to go. I'm all in on real estate?
Yeah. Well, it had its ups and downs, and even though I was an obsessive person, like even when I got my first property and I was like, okay, this is awesome. Then the market started crashing and people were in my ear telling me, you know, it's a really bad time.
2009, right?
Yeah, 2009.
So Europe felt it the same. I think,
mate,
I think globally, right?
Yeah, same story. So in 2008, we had that was when the banks started collapsing.
Yes.
Exact same story in across America, I'm sure Canada. 2009, the market absolutely tanked. Yeah. So I was getting into the game with no money in a massive recession, the Great Recession. Yeah. When house prices were falling, all odds stacked against me. And that's why now when I speak to people that are like, I'm 22 and I've got no money, I know the housing market's a little bit dicey right now, I'm thinking, well, it's not as bad as it was when I got started, and you got more money than I had. there really is no excuses.
Yeah.
And she said at the beginning of the podcast, everybody's got excuses as to why they can't be successful or why they can't do something. But until you just say, nah, forget the excuses. That's my goal, and I'm doing it. It's never going to happen. But yeah, it was a rocky start. I got my first deal, and then I spent a whole year trying to get my next deal, and it just wasn't happening. And it was tough. It took off around about 2010, 2011 when I learned about purchase lease option agreements. I don't know if you do it here, but it's where you buy a house and you agree to you buy it, but you agree to pay for it down the line.
Okay.
So you have an option to buy it,
like a rent to own, we call it.
a little bit like that. But because there was a lot of landlords exiting the market, you'd basically find people that were in negative equity that had a big mortgage. And say, look, man, you want to sell your house, but you can't sell it, and you're worried about squatters and this, that, and the other, and the house has become a liability to you. Give it to me.
Yeah.
I'll buy it off you for X price in 7 years' time. But in the meantime, I'll take over the mortgage payments. I'll become the landlord. I'll take the care of the maintenance. And then you've basically got a property under your control. You've got an option to buy it. And I started getting loads of these. So they weren't in my name. I didn't own them, but I had the option to buy them down the line, which gave me time to get my credit right, save up the deposits. And then when I was like 23, 24, 25, 26, I suddenly got all these properties that have gone massively up in value, but I've already fixed the price. And that was really how I kind of became quite wealthy, because I've secured all these properties at a time when everybody didn't want to buy real estate.
Right.
It's like Warren Buffett. He says, when people are scared, that's when you should be greedy.
Exactly. That's very relatable right now.
Right.
So let's go through your, what was your first deal? Let's go through it.
My first deal was on Maryvale Road, Birmingham. I still own it today. I bought it for £100,000. I would have got about £700 a month rent for it, but instead of renting it out to a family, I rented it out room by room.
Smart.
At the time, I thought that to rent it out room by room, you needed a builder, an architect, planning permission. But actually, after doing some research, I realized if you want to turn a reception room into a bedroom, you just put a bed in it. This is simple. I just put the properties on a website called Spare Room and just said, hey, here's a room. And people queued up to rent it. So instead of renting the whole house out for $700, I rented it out for about £400 per room. I got 3 rooms, turned one of the reception rooms into a room, 4 rooms. That one property, even though it went down in value and everyone was laughing at me saying, oh, it's crashing, it was making me $1,000 a month.
Yes.
So that one property, I was thinking, I'm still living at home. That one property, I'm still living with my mom. That one house is paying for my phone bill, my car, my petrol, my cinema pass, my food, my rent at home. This one house. Now I just need to get a second one.
Yes.
But then it was a lot harder because the rules had all changed, and like all the banks were going bust and stuff. That's why it took me so much longer to get my second house. But that was my first deal.
And what's that worth right now?
300,000 there or thereabouts.
Okay.
So it's like tripled.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And it still makes me $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
More than that now even.
So that you just did your conventional, you put your down payment and you purchased it?
No, I bought it. It's quite a creative sale.
Okay.
I bought it.
So you're creative right away. You got creative.
Yeah.
Nice.
Off the back of the course that I went on.
Nice.
As a teenager, but it was basically back then what you'd do is you'd buy property below market value on a bridge, and then you'd refinance it the same day, pay the bridge back. So it's a very complex. At the time, I can't lie, I was a teenager. I didn't really understand how it worked. My mentor was just saying, do this and do this and this, and I was getting help.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like when you turn the light on, you don't understand how it comes on. You just know that when you do that, that happens.
Yes.
And at the time when I was getting into real estate, I didn't quite understand everything, but I was just trusting my mentors. I'd paid for my courses, and I was going with it. But it paid off.
How old are you at the first deal?
17.
Oh, wow, man.
Yeah, I was young.
You were very young.
Very young.
I don't know what I was doing at 17. I think I was playing Call of Duty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
most people, yeah.
Eating pizza pockets.
Yeah.
That was
me.
my 17.
Now, when I was 17, 18, bro, I was working like arguably the hardest I've ever worked in my life.
So you had it young.
Yeah.
You had that. What do you think? What do you think fueled you at that young?
I think it was just I wanted to travel, and I would just become a Christian as well. So I was going to a local church, and they were saying to me, "Oh, we want to send you to these mission trips across the world. You got so much energy," and I was thinking, like, I didn't want to get rich. The reason for getting into real estate for me wasn't me getting rich. I just wanted to have a few houses to give me a passive income that meant I could then just live. You know, so really it was freedom.
Yes.
It was just the idea, and it was just the idea, and also seeing everybody, all my school friends, going to university and studying drama, and then laughing at me for going on a real estate course. I'm like, hang on a minute, you're laughing at me for going on a real estate course when you've just signed up for a 3-year course to study drama, and they're like, yeah, but we'll get a degree at the end. I'm like, a degree in drama, like, you think you're gonna go to Hollywood with your drama degree? Why are you laughing at me for going on so it was also to prove people wrong a little bit. You know, like my teachers at school, I sat on a special needs desk when I was at school. And so I just was like, man, I wanted to prove people wrong, but I also wanted freedom to be able to just travel and to, you know, dedicate time to my church and stuff.
Yeah. I resonate, man. It's crazy because when you're going through those motions, like on paper, what your friends are doing probably look like the right way to go. Yeah. You know? And they look at you as like, this guy crazy?
Yeah, and then 5 years later, they're a dramatic McDonald's worker.
Yeah.
And I'm a property millionaire.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So what does...
Now they work for me.
Amazing.
In fact, there's a guy called Elliot who used to laugh at me. Now he works for me. I've officially recruited my entire class.
Wow.
For my company.
Must feel good, eh?
It sounds more impressive than it is. There was only a few in my class. But still, yeah, man. Even one of my school teachers, she went on my course, learned about real estate, has now got a little property portfolio. Yeah. Like, it's madness. At first people, she was always supportive, to be fair, but generally speaking, at first people will laugh at you, and then they'll just say, oh, well, money's not that important, when they see you making a bit of money. And then they'll end up saying, can I take you out for a coffee? I want to pick your brain and study what you did. And then you just got to remember, you know what? Instead of getting bitter, I'm just going to get better. So yeah, like not just my school friends, like my whole family, man. Everyone's in the business now. Yeah. I moved away. I grew up in Wolverhampton, which is a bit of a dump, which is in the middle of England. And it's just surrounded by...
What's like a major city near there?
Birmingham.
Birmingham, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Wolverhampton's not that great. It's surrounded by poverty and mess and crime. And when I became successful, I wanted to move out of Wolverhampton, but I still wanted to be close to my family. So I was like, where's the nicest area, but still like 30, 40 minutes maybe? I ended up moving to a place called Lichfield, which was kind of nice, but still surrounded by crap. And then I thought, you know what, forget this. I'm just going to go to the nicest part of the UK, where I actually want to live. And I'm just going to move all my family down. And if I have to buy them a house, I'll buy them a house. Now I've single-handedly moved 36 family members to the village of Buckinghamshire, which is beautiful, like mansion galore. So it's like, people that say money can't buy you happiness. Yeah, but it can buy you freedom and peace, and it can buy you a house in an area, and it can buy you bringing all your family down. And so money's great, and I think that's the first thing people need to understand. You know, certainly in the UK, there's a lot of this mindset that money's bad. And money makes you a jerk, and if you're rich, you know, you're gonna have to trample over poor people to get rich, and that's just not true. So the first thing is to say, actually, being rich is a good thing. It will not change me. It will just reveal who I really am and help me be more of what I already am.
Yes, and amplifies who you already are.
100%.
I love it. I love it. So let's jump into YouTube. I discovered you on YouTube. I'm sure a lot of people have. How did that content journey start with you?
Interestingly, it started with my real estate agency. Okay. Because I wouldn't call it a real estate agency, but as I'm on a real estate agency channel, I'll call it that. But one of the things I started doing was finding deals because I didn't have much money. I had a few houses. I got a few lease options, or I got the opportunity to buy the house down the line. But I needed cash. In any business, what you need is you need cash. Yes. Money in my bank right now. I need cash. Otherwise, it's all jammed tomorrow. So I thought, what's the fastest way to get cash? Well, what am I good at? Well, I'm good at finding real estate deals. So maybe I could find real estate deals, package them up, and then pass them on to investors as like a broker for a fee. So that's what I started doing. And the reason I created my YouTube channel was to build my investor list to sell them deals. So what I would do is I would do a YouTube video and say, hey, my name's Samuel Leeds. I just bought this house in Wolverhampton on behalf of John. It was worth 120. I got it down to 100. It's now renting for this much. In fact, John, he's the owner. What do you think of the house, John? Oh, Samuel, you did an amazing job negotiating this for me. And John, how much did you pay me? He paid me just $3,000. $3,000. How do you feel about that, John? Oh, man, it's the best $3,000 I ever spent. Thank you, John. This is what you can do in real estate. Now, you can go and do it yourself, or you can pay me $3,000. The option is yours. But if you want to jump on my investors list where I'm finding deals like this every week, subscribe below. That was the nature of my YouTube channel. And what happened was it just blew up, man.
Yeah. And then you just started to explore different.
I couldn't even sell the deals. There was too many investors.
Really, eh?
There was so many investors wanting deals. I didn't have the deals for them. Mm-hmm. And then I started my training company.
Yeah.
My real estate education company, which also blew up. We have every month about 3,000 people coming to our events every month, which is a lot of people. Yeah, I still got that going on today. It's a lot of fun. Still run my YouTube channel. I've retired a couple of times. But then what happens is you realize, actually, because the thing is this, right? When you're climbing a mountain, I've climbed a lot of mountains. I remember climbing up Kilimanjaro. I got to the top of the mountain. What's the first thing you do when you get to the top of a mountain? You've been climbing for 6 days. You get to the top of the mountain. The first thing you do is you go, great, let's head back down, right? So when you're climbing a mountain, you're not climbing to get to the top, to stay at the top. Actually, it's the enjoyment of climbing the mountain.
Yes.
And in the same way, people think when you get really rich and you become a multimillionaire, oh man, I'm just going to retire, live on the beach. Now you're at the top of the mountain. Now it's time to find another mountain to climb.
Exactly.
Because what keeps you happy and sane is climbing a mountain.
Yes.
The journey is actually better than the destination. The destination will just keep you on track.
Yes.
So every time I've retired, I've always got bored and thought, actually, what else can I do? I started all kinds of stuff. I started a property investors mediation service company, which is doing really well. I've got thousands of members. I started my Samuel Leeds Foundation. We just built a school in Uganda last year. It's got 2,000 kids.
Nice.
And the government agreed that we could, I'd pay for the building if they would let me have a say in the infrastructure of the school curriculum, which was that financial literacy would be a mandatory subject in the curriculum, which is just huge.
Yeah, it is huge.
We're building a hospital ward right now. All kinds of stuff. So I've got so much going on. And for me, the reason I'm doing it is because I just enjoy climbing the mountain.
Yes.
When I get to the top, then I'll find another mountain, and I will never retire.
Big applause, man. Like, congrats on that, you know?
Thank you.
Because a lot of people, I mean, the average out there, they're always just chasing whatever goal. Maybe they're doing a 9 to 5 or just spinning their wheels.
Yeah.
Call it the rat race, right? But they'll never get to that top of the mountain. Their life just ends, you know?
Well, that's depressing.
I mean, but that's just life,
you know? A low mountain. Like, instead of having a really high goal, have a low goal and then hit it. And then get a new goal.
Yeah.
And then keep doing it until you end up going, damn, I'm high.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's an interesting perspective because some people will never be able to understand that. You know, it's just that it's that process.
Entrepreneurship is not for everybody.
It's true, but it's fun.
We like it, but it's not for everybody.
So, so you created this YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And let's talk about your current portfolio. So where everything's at. Like, so fast forward to today, what does Samuel Leeds' portfolio look like?
Yeah, so my portfolio initially was just be buying houses and renting them out. That was my strategy.
Buy and hold.
Yes. I got up to about 96 houses. My
And
goal was to have 1,000.
And how are you scaling that? Because you said that the first one took about a year. Then I'm sure something clicked and you found some sort of strategy. Are you just refinancing?
Yeah, but buy, refurbish, refinance.
Okay,
Bro. It's the same across the world, man.
Yeah.
Same across the world, man. You buy a house and you push it up in value and then you get finance on it.
Yeah.
And then you recycle in the money.
Yeah.
Some deals didn't work out too well. Some deals worked out just fine, and some deals overperformed.
Yeah.
And I was just slowly grow my portfolio. That was my strategy, but that changed about 4 or 5 years ago. I realized after studying a lot of billionaires that no one did that. No billionaire owns thousands of residential houses. That's not what they do. And I was trying to scale like this way by just buying loads of houses, but actually I needed to go bigger. So about 5 years ago, I realized that wasn't really a great strategy because it takes just as much energy and effort to buy a 2 up, 2 down terraced house for 100 grand than it does to buy a piece of land and build 10 houses.
Yes, development.
Right. It takes just as much effort to buy an apartment than it does to buy an apartment block.
Mm-hmm.
So my strategy changed, and I started doing bigger deals. I started getting pieces of land, getting planning permission on the land, pushing the value up, building houses, buying bigger deals, commercial properties. So I still love residential. I mean, what you say about what am I doing today, my portfolio today? We bought a couple of hotels this year. We've bought a factory, which we just got planning permission to turn to 48 apartments. So we're in the process of converting that into apartments. But again, that deal is one purchase. I bought it once. I haven't got 48 lots of houses to buy. 48 mortgage applications, 48 stamp duty, 48 solicitors dealing with. I just got one.
Yeah.
One deal. But it will make me 48 times as much as one deal would. So it's like now I'm doing bigger things.
Yeah. If you can go back, would you start with bigger sooner?
I probably wouldn't, because I think, and this is an interesting one. I saw a debate from Robert Kiyosaki and Grant Cardone, two pretty big real estate investors who I know both of them personally, especially Grant. I know Grant pretty well, but Grant was saying go straight into big deals because big's better, and then Robert was more like no, start small. And I think that my opinion is your deal should always be bigger than your last deal.
Yes.
So I actually think starting small is better. Start with a little small house that you can, 2 up, 2 down, that you can flip or something. Because that is going to be, you're going to make mistakes when you get started. And it's better to make mistakes on a small deal than it is on a big deal.
Yeah.
If you make a mistake I own a castle, right?
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, tell me about this castle.
What's that?
Tell me about this castle.
Yeah, I bought it a few years ago. It's been a nightmare. I can't lie.
Yeah.
It's like I got so much cash tied up in it,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to get planning permission to get some extra houses. I'm turning it into luxury apartments and houses.
Just with the exterior, with the
Nah,
castle
nah,
exterior.
It needs everything, bro. It needs like literally everything. I'm spending like millions.
How old is
castle.
this thing?
Oh, mate, like it's one of the oldest buildings in England.
Wow.
It depends how you define how old is it, because it's kind of changed a bit, and but it's got hundreds and hundreds. It's got, I think, about 1,000 years of history to it.
That's
it's got its own Wikipedia page.
Wow.
It's called Ribsford House. Yeah, it's been hard, man. But the thing is, if that had been the first deal that I did, I would have quit property.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So start small, do bigger and bigger deals as you grow. Unless you're partnering with somebody, then I think maybe you could go a bit bigger to begin with, because you'll learn from your mistakes.
Yes.
But don't just buy 1,000 little houses. Just always be scaling this way as opposed to this way.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
No, I like that perspective, because you look at the mega wealth, and it's through development. It's through buildings and commercial
and all the
plazas, hotels,
all the tax write-offs and the tax loopholes are all for the. I mean, the big guys. What are the big guys doing? The big guys are doing hotels, commercial property development. That's where all the tax write-offs are.
Yeah.
If you're just doing normal single-family home, trying to scale that business, there's no tax write-offs there. You're going to get busted, whether you're in Canada, America, or UK.
Yeah.
You get blasted. So start with that. That's cool. Learn on that. Make a bit of money, but then start getting into bigger deals.
And so we're in a recession, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we can compare this to how you started. So for someone looking to start right now, right? What's some advice to them?
Well, you could become an agent.
Mm-hmm.
You could get into something like wholesaling.
Yeah.
You could control properties. We do something called rent to rent. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Explain that just so people know.
Yeah, so rent to rent would be where you rent a property and then you rent it out for a higher amount.
Yeah.
And you've got to be creative. So, for example, and you've got to check the laws of the town and the council, and you've got to make sure that you're doing things right. You've got a mentor or somebody that's guiding you, but you can rent an apartment for £1,000 a month and then rent it out for £100 a night on Airbnb.
Yeah.
That's going to make you $1,000 a month profit.
Arbitrage.
Right. That's a huge business.
Yes.
And be under no illusion. Anyone listens to that thinks, oh, that's like because some people think like, oh, that's what really broke people do that are trying to get into property. No, that's how most hotels work.
Yes.
Most hotels don't own the building. They rent the building and then they rent it out as a hotel. You can do the same just with an apartment next door to a hotel that's oversubscribed. So, you know, these types of things, you've got to get creative.
Yeah.
You can't just think, oh, I'm going to save up, work hard on my job, save up money. I was listening to a Dave Ramsey post yesterday on TikTok, and I love Dave Ramsey, but he was talking about save money and then invest. I'm sorry, but in a recession like we're in now, for the average 23-year-old that's making a couple £1,000 a month, where the average rent is £1,000, and then bills are going up and everything's... How are you going to save enough money to buy a house? If you're in Canada, what's the average price of a house in Canada? Like $1 million bucks? So you're going to need a down payment of what? $250,000 probably? How are you going to save up $250,000 if you're an average person working a job making $30,000 a year? You ain't going to be able to. No matter how much Starbucks you don't drink, because you can make coffee free at home, no matter how long you don't get a car. He said, oh, the average person spends $500 on a car. Well, if you didn't have a car, by the age of 70, you'd be a millionaire. Who wants to not drive until they're 70? What is going on? I need to sit with this guy. Damn. That's just old school mentality. It doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
It worked 50 years ago. 50 years ago, if you're making $20,000 a year, you could live a really good life on 10 and then save the other 10. Now, you can't. It doesn't work. So now you've got to be creative.
Yes.
You've got to get proper creative, and you've got to work hard. Work hard and work smart and get creative and have a mentor and work in a good industry like real estate, and you will get very rich. It will be slow, but it will happen.
Get rich slow, exactly.
Get rich slow, but get free fast.
Yes. Love it. And so let's jump into your the Undercover Millionaire series, right? So like as an example, because it's the perfect example of how someone, unless they have excuses, can do it, right?
Yeah.
So you go into a town you're not familiar with, no network, no cash, just your laptop.
Yeah.
Right? So using this strategy, so explain how that goes down, because that's a very simple formula because you've done it multiple times.
Yeah.
That someone could take advantage of if they're at home thinking that, oh, I got to save up money still, or I need 5 more years, or maybe mom or dad will help me, you know?
Well, the thing is this, right? In 2018, decided to do Undercover Millionaire Financial Freedom Challenge because I was so tired of people telling me that I got lucky in 2009. So I decided, okay, right now today, as a multimillionaire, I'm going to leave everything behind. I'm going to cut myself off from my bank. I'm going to leave my wife and kids. I'm going to get dumped into a random city with nothing and no credibility and see what happens if I start all over again from scratch.
And I saw she was crying one. Very cute. I thought that was very touching.
Yeah, my wife was crying. You know why she was crying? She said to me, how long do you think you're going to be gone for? Because she knew that I wasn't going to be coming back to my home until I was financially independent again from scratch. And I said, well, the first time I became financially independent, it took me 4 years.
That's a lot of trust. It's a lot of trust.
4 years.
Yeah.
I said, but this time it'll be a lot quicker. But I think in her mind, she was thinking I'd be gone for like 4 months. I came back 7 days later.
Wow.
I'd done 9 deals.
Wow.
Right? With nothing.
Rent to rent?
Combination. Lease option, rent to rent, deal sourcing. Some of those deals included finding deals and passing them on to investors.
Yes.
Couldn't do business with anyone that I knew. Had no credit. So, yeah, man. And the thing is this. There's a lot of things you can do in property with a little bit of money. If you've got a little bit of money, I'm talking just like a few thousand, you can take control of a property. You can do a purchase option agreement, rent to own. You can do lots of things with a few thousand. People say, I ain't got a few thousand. Well, go make it. And you can make a few thousand real quick. If you have a little ingenuity and you've got a bit of skill set, anyone can make a few thousand in a week.
Yeah.
If you have a good topic and you know what you're doing.
For sure.
So, yeah, just made a bit of money, a bit of cash, and then used that to creatively put it into controlling properties and take it on purchase options and rent to rent and a bit of arbitrage here and there and ended up within 7 days, I got to the point where I was making an average UK salary.
In a week?
In a week.
That's crazy.
And then it went viral on YouTube. And then
you've done it multiple times.
Yeah, then people were like, oh, try it in Blackpool. I was like, all right, let's go. Some punk-ass kid's like, it doesn't work in the States. All right.
Yeah, you went to New York.
Let's go to the States.
Let's talk about that one.
Well, to be fair, it didn't work in New York.
Okay. What was your
However-
challenge there? What was your challenge?
Oh, man. Oh, it was horrible. New York. Oh, I thought they were unfriendly in London until I went to New York. Now, it didn't work in New York because it was so regulated and you needed like a permit to do everything. So I didn't manage to achieve it in New York. However, I did drive to West Philadelphia, which was the most awkward thing ever. And I was like determined to get some kind of a deal. So I was in West Philadelphia and I was going around. I was wearing a blue suit and I was going around like knocking doors. If I saw it said house for sale, I just think I want to talk to the owner. I'd knock the door. But I think I was in the hood.
Okay.
And people thought I was from the FBI or something.
That's hilarious. Okay.
And it was real rough. But I did manage to get one. I got one rent to rent in Philadelphia and then left back to the UK. It wasn't the best deal in the world, but I did get something.
Yes.
But it wasn't a great experience in America. I think if I did it again, it'd be a lot more successful.
Where would you hit?
Where would I hit? I don't know, man. I think I'd probably hit Miami. I'd probably hit Miami. I think. I know property taxes there are very low.
You know what? Miami, big arbitrage game in there.
Oh, mate, massive.
Huge. I Airbnb in Florida.
Do you?
I have a
Nice.
property there. That Airbnb
I'd go.
there.
Oh, that's it. You've confirmed my thoughts. Miami, it is.
Miami, it is.
No prep though. You can't prep, otherwise it's not a real.
Yeah.
For me,
I think you do well in Miami.
I think I'd smash.
Florida's
it
a
in Miami.
good market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But New
A lot
York
of flexibility.
New York was hard.
No, New York's way too shut down. Same with Toronto, but we're really regulated. I Airbnb here too.
Yeah.
But the rules are just like, oh, you're making money? New rule. You're making money?
It's almost
New
like
rule.
yeah. In Canada, I was doing a bit of research on Canada, and it seems a bit tough in Canada.
It is.
And in England, when I told people I was going to Canada, they were like, "Oh, be careful." I was like, I thought it was quite a safe place, and they were like, "No, but is it?" They're saying it's like communist in Canada. I was like, "Oh, sugar, is it?" They said, "We think it's a communist country." They were saying in the UK, like my friends were saying to me, "I think it's like a communist country. They might lock you down, or you know what I mean? There's like big flats everywhere because the people are so poor because of the taxes. Just be careful in Canada." But actually, Toronto seems like quite a nice place.
Toronto's a hub. We have a quarter of. They're all laughing back there because they probably agree. They probably agree. But there's a quarter of our Canadian population is in our city here. But our politics, very interesting. Put it that way.
What do they believe here that's different to like generally what they would believe in the States?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It's that's a loaded question, depending on what specifically you're talking about. But it's gotten rough here, man, since the pandemic and stuff. Like it's just very questionable. Very questionable. Taxes, we do get hit hard. You know, if you're making a good chunk of change, like multi six figures, you're losing half your income.
And that's
Straight
not
to
even a lot of
taxes.
money. You're broke.
Straight to taxes.
How much tax? If you're making 10 mil, 20 mil?
Well,
My turnover a year, I turn over about 22 million a year.
okay.
I'm gonna get blasted if I'm in Canada.
Well, you're okay if you're not protecting through corps and a tax structure. You're right away like 55%.
So there are ways that there are ways.
Yeah,
you
you can get creative for sure.
Okay, that's
but
all right then.
but the CRA, which is our tax regulation company thing, they will crack down.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
I mean,
here.
the UK is quite high taxes.
Yeah.
You know, we pay a lot of tax in the UK. Of course, I'm quite creative, and we've got the best team. That you know, the taxes are high in the UK, but then it's like I could move somewhere. I could move to Jersey and pay no tax, but then I'd have to live in Jersey. Nah, I'd rather pay the extra and live in the UK.
Yeah.
So maybe you feel the same in Canada.
You know, it's easy to make money here. I won't like that's one thing I'll give it. Like it's very easy to
as long as you give your unwanted business partner some money.
yes, which is the government.
Yeah, right.
100%. So let's get into the world now a little bit because I want to get your thoughts on the current economy, like the current situation we're in.
Yeah.
You know, your thoughts on where everything's headed. Some people are freaking out. There's a lot of fear mongering out there.
I mean, listen. Certainly, where I'm based in the UK, we're in a recession and there's a property crash happening. House prices are going down. However, that freaks people out. But just look at history. And we see this happen every 10, 15 years or so. We see a crash. And whenever there's a crash, it always follows a boom. And then whenever there's a boom, it always follows a crash.
Yeah.
So we've had the boom, right? We've had years, if we were just saying about Canada, the last 5 years, it's gone crazy. For there not to be a crash would be weird. Real estate goes up and down, up and down, up and down, but over the longevity, it goes up and it holds its value. So the first thing I would say is, you can't be freaking out worrying about what's going to happen in the next 2-3 years. You need to be thinking about what's going to happen in the next 10, 20, 30 years. And real estate is going to hold its value. In Canada, I know in Toronto, there's hundreds of thousands of new people wanting to come into Toronto every month, right? So it's going to hold its value long term. It will. And I think it's certainly going to, people that are saying, oh, I'm not going to invest in real estate. What are you going to invest in then? You're going to invest in Bitcoin? You're going to keep your money in the bank where they're printing money? Like, no safer asset than land and homes. However, saying that, I think it's really important to make sure that when you're buying a property as an investor, it's really important to make sure that it cash flows.
Yes.
So that's the key. If it cash flows, it doesn't matter. If I buy a property for £1 million and it drops to 700, I'm not bothered if it's making me an income. I'll just wait. I'll sit it out. So I think now is actually, believe it or not, the entrepreneur and the opportunist and the optimist in me thinks that now's a really good time because everyone's scared. 2 years ago in the UK, and I'm sure the same here, you're trying to go to a real estate agent to buy a property. They're saying, oh, join the queue. There's 27 applications.
Yeah.
Is that really a good time? Is it a good time to get into real estate when you've got to join the queue? Or is it a bad time to get into real estate when it's a buyer's market and you've got sellers that are scared and buyers that are scared and you come in and grab a bargain? I think the latter. So you can always make money in real estate. It's just about making sure that you go with your eyes open, you know what the market's doing. Make money when you buy, make money when you sell, make money when you hold.
Don't you find it crazy how human psychology works though?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is that people are mad.
27 people in the queue. 26 of those people don't know why they're in the queue. They're just in the queue because everyone else is in the queue. That's how things are when, especially here. People don't know, they didn't even know why they're overpaying for a house. There's these crazy bidding wars, and then all these buyers come in I must pay more.
Yeah, because something's only worth what someone's prepared to pay for it.
Yeah, but those same people are now oh, it's a terrible time to buy. I'll never buy. Market sucks. It's just the human psychology is it's backwards.
Yeah, and it's nuts because if you're buying something from a market stand, when are you gonna get the best buy at a market stand? At 3 o'clock in the afternoon when there's a big queue, or at 7 o'clock in the evening when the guy's packing down, and there's a couple left over. Well, obviously then, and in the same way in the property market, when there's big queues and everyone's excited, you're not going to get the best deal then. You're going to get the best deal when people are scared. I was having conversations about 12 months ago with some real estate agents, and I was offering on a house. I offered £450,000 on one house, and it was rejected. And now the agents just come back to me and said, "Do you want it?" I said, "What's the bottom line?" I said, $375. So £75,000 discount on a property. Well, if I'd have bought it 12 months ago, rents haven't gone down, why would I not buy it now? In case it goes down more. Yeah, but eventually it's going to go back up. So now I'm quite. I think to say that there's not going to be a crash would be naive, or to say house prices aren't going to go down would be naive. But then to say, but to me, a crash is no big deal.
Yes.
But then I've been through 2 recessions in my working business life. When I got started, it was a crash. Then we had the pandemic, 2020. We had a serious recession. So this is just the 3rd recession. Yeah. Great. Payday.
Yeah. Agreed. And what are rates right now in the UK?
Base rate's about 5%.
Okay, so same here.
Yeah, high.
Yeah.
Just gone up a lot.
Ours went up today.
2 years ago, base rate was 0.1% in the UK.
Free money.
Mate, ridiculous. It's not been that low since the 1600s.
Yeah. And do you think this, because we can call this a bottom, this current downward trend here, do you have any prediction as to how long this might last?
No one knows. Anyone that says this is exactly what's going to happen, and it's all estimations. As I say, I don't want to say to someone, "Oh, I think it's going to last 2 years," and then in 3 years they message me and say, "I only bought because you said." But the bottom line is, if it's cash flowing, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
All the properties that my investors and my students and myself bought a year or 2 ago when we were getting free money, when base rate was 0.1%, and I was doing YouTube videos saying, this hasn't been the case for 400 years. Buy now. All those people that bought fixed their rates till 2027.
Yes.
So rates have gone up, but we don't care.
Yeah.
Me and my wife don't care because our rates are fixed at 3.3%. We don't care. The fact that rates are now, you'd be talking 6%. We got our rates fixed about 3%, some even less. In fact, we bought our own home. We got a mortgage of $2 million on it, and our rates, I think 1.8%.
Wow.
Fixed.
Yeah.
Fixed for years. So I'm just enjoying it. I'm just
chilling.
loving every second.
You're chilling.
And then when I'm buying now, I'm buying cheap. It's great.
That's it. It's very easy. It's very easy. But some people have
It's just people get emotional.
Yeah, it is. It's so true. So I want to take you into a little speed round.
All right,
Okay,
man, let's do it.
Some quick questions.
Yeah.
And then it's the jab cross hook. All right.
Yeah. And are you serious about boxing? Do you want to do a bit of sparring?
I would love to.
All right, mate. That'd be fun.
Want to go to a local gym?
Yeah, that'd be really good. We'll talk after the podcast.
Okay, let's do it. So, real estate horror story.
Real estate horror story?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I've got quite a few real estate horror stories. Oh, I'm looking over at my wife to see if because she normally has to deal with all the crap. I would say the biggest horror story would be Durham Road, Amanda. I don't even know where to start because there's so many horror. All I'll say is every tenant we've ever had has been a nightmare. And it's got the kiss of death on it, and we hate it. And everything that's ever happened about it has sucked. And when we did a spreadsheet and we worked out over the last 10 years how much money it's made, it's actually lost money, both in capital appreciation and in rent. It's lost money on every which way. Horrible house. We hate it.
That's a lot of hate there. I
Yeah,
sense the hate
anger.
in your voice.
Yeah, luckily I don't have to deal with it, but yeah, it's horrible. I just see it on the spreadsheet and just, hate it.
Next question. Soccer or football?
Football. I don't actually know what soccer is. I don't
No?
even know. Is soccer football? Is soccer what we call football, or is it something a bit different? Is it more like rugby? I don't actually know, but I don't know what soccer is, so I'll say football. But I don't actually like football either.
Arsenal or Chelsea?
Oof, that's a tough question because I've got students in both teams.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I know personally some of the players. Whenever I go and watch a football match,
Can you name them?
I probably wouldn't. I wouldn't
Okay.
name them.
Okay.
But when I go and watch a football match, I'm always thinking I'm counting the players who are my students on each team, and I'm cheering louder for the team I've got more students of. Right now, I would probably say Arsenal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Chelsea, maybe get some more players on his in his academy. Your favorite real estate deal?
My favorite real estate deal. I think it's my first house. Like the first property that I bought in Birmingham. That gave me the most joy buying it. It was like, oh my gosh, I've done it. This works. I still own it. I'm a bit sentimental about it because it was my first. Yeah.
Okay. Appreciation or cash flow?
Cash flow.
Cash flow.
I would always say cash flow, but in reality, I'm not actually sure if that's even true anymore. Cash flow is definitely king, but there's nothing better than making millions of pounds by mistake. There's, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, cash flow is great. Oh, okay, I'm making 100 grand a month. Brill. It's passive. Awesome. Oh, I just made 6 mil by mistake. That's a good feeling.
It is.
So, but cash flow. Cash flow is
flow.
always king.
All right. Long-term rentals or short-term rentals?
Short-term rentals, 100%.
All right. I agree with that.
Guests have no rights.
Yep.
You get in more rent. You got tax write-offs. It's just better.
Yeah. For those that know me, I'm big on STR.
Yeah.
Favorite city in the world?
Definitely not Toronto. Communist little state here. Favorite city in the world? London.
Okay.
In England.
Is
Sorry.
that biased or?
I don't think so because I choose to live there. Right?
Sure, yeah.
Where else? Oof. Nah, London.
London.
Yeah.
London it is. Sorry, Toronto. Sorry to my entire audience. The next best global real estate hotspot.
Oh, interesting. After where? What do you mean then? Oh, the next.
Next one.
Oh, not the second.
Up and coming.
Okay.
Like real estate hotspot. Like for value,
Okay, I know
for
where I'm saying.
opportunity.
I'm saying Ghana, Africa.
Okay, interesting.
Huge opportunities there. We've invested heavily
Okay.
into Africa.
Why is that? Why is that?
Because it's just being redeveloped like you wouldn't believe. Here's the thing, right? You take somewhere like Canada or Toronto, where I'm at now, it's very developed, right? Everyone knows it's awesome,
Yeah.
apart from me. Everyone knows it's awesome. Everyone wants to be here. Same with England. Very developed.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Whereas you go some places in Africa, it's just written off. There's nothing there. It's just almost like, I was going to say desert, but obviously not desert. It's rural. But there's some cities that were rural that are now being developed, and now everyone wants to be there. Like I went to Accra last year. It's one of my favorite places to go on holiday. People wouldn't think, oh, where should we go on holiday? Oh, let's go to Accra, Ghana, Africa. You wouldn't think that. You'd think, where do I go on holiday? I'll go to New York. I'll go to Miami. I'll go to Toronto. I'll go to London. But actually, some of these developing cities, when the world realizes, when the world see how good it is in Africa, everyone will want to go there. They'll be thinking, oh, you know what? Forget Canada. Forget London, England. I want to be in Africa. I want to be in Ghana. I want to be there because it's hot, it's popping, the clubs, the nightlife, the hotels, all the things that you didn't know existed there are there. And because people don't know it, it's almost like a secret. And as people catch on to the fact, it's even happening now, even with like Burna Boy and Afro beats, and people are going to start realizing how good some of these African countries are. And when they do, and we see it happening now, the prices of the real estate is going through the freaking roof. Like I'm talking, you buy something for 100 grand and now it's $1 million, 10 times your money in 5 years. That type of stuff happens and it's happening and will happen. So that's why we're pretty heavily investing.
Interesting.
Investing in like a whole apartment blocks and all kinds of stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah, Zimbabwe as well. I mean, I'm a bit biased, but Zimbabwe, the economy is totally shot in Zimbabwe, but I have hope for Zimbabwe because it's one of my favorite countries.
You invested there?
Not really, no.
Okay.
My wife's from there, so.
Okay.
Yeah, no, yeah. But not really. We haven't done much there.
Okay. I think you answered this next question, but I'll ask it anyways.
So I said again.
Would you invest in Toronto?
Would I invest in? Yeah, you know what? I would invest in Toronto.
Oh, you would? Okay.
Because I think that. I mean, I was partly joking about Canada. I've only been here a day, so I don't know enough.
I'm not joking. Yeah, he was right.
No, I would invest anywhere where there's money to be made.
Yeah.
And I also like having a diverse. People say, "Oh, you're in property. You need to diversify." Yeah, I'll diversify by investing in different countries. Because if England tanks, but I got stuff in Canada and Africa, Ghana, and Brazil, then I'm more protected. So would I invest here? Yeah, I would. If there's money to be made, 100%.
I love it. And then I want to shout out your academy. So your favorite client success story for property investors.
Yeah, that's a great question. Again, like I've got so many students. I've trained tens of thousands of people.
And can this be outside UK too?
Yeah, I have
Okay,
students
awesome.
from all over the place, even Canada.
Cool.
I got students in Canada.
Cool.
Many students in Canada. My favorite story, probably off the top of my head, it would be Evan's Willie, because I went to his house. I spent a week with him. I helped him become financially independent. He had nothing. He's from St. Lucia. He was sleeping on the floor.
Oh, wow.
And now he's a property millionaire.
Did you document this?
Yes.
Okay.
And I went out to his home country of St. Lucia.
Wow.
Even potentially doing some investing out there and stuff. We've become friends. But there's just so many. I've worked with so many celebrities. I've worked with also the other end of the spectrum, people that are like homeless who are now, property millionaires, which is just madness. But yeah, too many to think of. Every week I interview somebody on my podcast who's a student.
Cool.
I've been doing that for 5 years, every single week.
Yes. Love that, man.
Yeah.
Love that. Well, big props to you.
Thank you, brother.
Amazing story. You're very, very well known, very inspiring. And for all your new fans out there, all your Toronto fans.
My Toronto fans. They were fans until I started cutting out their communist country.
I think they're fans again with the. They might be fans. I think we might have lost them for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, they know it's true. That's the problem.
They
know
do.
it's
That's the thing, though. They
learn how to do it properly. Get around the loopholes. Get into short stay lets. Listen to this dude. You'll be just fine.
Where can they find you?
Google my name, Samuel Leeds. Google me or search me on YouTube.
Done. Well, man,
Respect, man.
You've
Thank
been
you,
awesome. Thank you for coming. To everyone out there, don't forget to do your duties, like, subscribe, share, give us 5 stars. Do not give us less or I'll find out where you live. Until then, we'll see you on the next one. Peace. 6 months. How many days a week do you train?
Like really hardcore, man. I've been training, doing 4 boxing sessions a week.
Yeah.
And then 4 fitness sessions a week.
Nice.
So I've been doing about 8 hours a week. How's the fitness?
Fitness is good.
Is it? Boxing is exhausting.
It is.
Like absolutely.
Beat the shit out of Matt.
Yeah.
You're good.
Let's go.
He's ready for the white collar.
Go.